Lord Justice M.S. Shah, the Honorable Chief Justice, Bombay High Court, Shri Pradeep Singh Ji, Honorable Minister for State, Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Amit Bhai, Nitin Bhai, Tushar Bhai, Shri Prakash Jani, the Government Leader, State of Gujarat, and dignitaries of the dais. When I was coming here, it came to my mind, I come to Baroda very rarely, that I am visiting the cultural capital of the state. But then it gave me a different thought. While going through the program which is designed by FGI, which is essentially and necessarily industrial fraternity, the choice of subjects and selection of persons to be invited has significance. By and large, organizing an event or organizing a summit is not a very difficult task. Even if we don't have skill to organize events or summits, we now have event managers, they can also do it. But industrial fraternity, conceiving an idea of having a summit on subjects which are not selfishly selected by the industrialists, but on the subjects which need to be addressed as a social responsibility, is really amazing, and I really offer my gratitude to Amit Bhai, Ketan Bhai and Tushar. We have witnessed, we have participated, we have seen several summits organized by other industrial fraternity organizations without naming any one of them. Please mark the difference. The difference is the subject selected is by and large evasion of statutory provisions and how industrial fraternity can evade from the clutches of law. Maybe evasion of tax. In a glorified name, we are good at giving glorified names to whatever we think of. It may be evasion of sales tax, excise, central sales tax, etc., etc. But this is a summit of its kind, where you start with and end with subjects where industrial fraternity is not only required to protect itself, but also required to contribute in the productivity and growth of the country. Broadly speaking, the curriculum is, the initial part takes care of intellectual property rights. It's not an invasive litigation. It's not an invasive piece of legislature. It is essentially a protective litigation. During the course of today and tomorrow, you will hear eminent scholars on the subject. What is Copyright Act, trademark, patent, designs. It's difficult to deal with these subjects, and I am reminded of Mark Twain, one of the most acclaimed humorists of all times, where he said that the only thing which is impossible for even God is to decipher any logic in any copyright law. And that attempt is going to be made today and in the course of tomorrow. Copyright is essentially not an invasive piece of legislature, it is protective piece of legislature. When you create a brand, when your brand is recognized, when your brand gets a secondary meaning, you seek to protect your brand so that there is no invasion from any unscrupulous competitor. That fact will be discussed. It is not a selfishly selected subject, but it is a subject with which each and every member of industrial fraternity has to be acquainted with. The second limb of this two-day summit is arbitration, conciliation, alternative dispute resolution. Broadly, everyone knows about it, and in detail, the speakers which are selected, they are excellent in their respective fields, would speak on the subject. But the most amazing part of arbitration is that arbitration has history in the roots of our Indian culture. Arbitration is given a statutory format recently, maybe 50 years before, 60 years before, but that is a statutory codification of a system which we already had 200 years before, 300 years before, when there used to be difference between two individuals or groups of individuals. They used to go to a person selected by both of them, put their case before them, and feel bound by the decision taken by that person. Now that concept is codified, it is recognized by law, and earlier it was a moral binding to accept the authority of that arbitrator. Now it is a legal binding, you are bound by the arbitral award subject to certain limited rights of challenge. As an industrial fraternity, what worries almost all industrialists or persons in industry, trade, commerce, which come to us seeking guidance, seeking to discuss issues, the main worry is the time-consuming process of normal litigation which takes. Your job is to contribute to the production, to the growth of the economy of the country, and not to sit in courts wasting your time waiting for the matters to be decided. Alternative dispute redressal mechanism is one of the mechanisms which is speedy. It has several plus points, but over and above every good point, the best point is it is speedy, and the second best point for industrial fraternity and for Gujaratis, it is less expensive. Of course, I am saying this because I have to say this. As a lawyer, I am not honest when I say this. There was an eminent lawyer in Britain called F.E. Smith, who eventually became Lord Berwick. Very eminent lawyer. He was approached by many people that, sir, you are an eminent counsel. You appear for many people who evade law. They escape the punishment. How do you justify? F.E. Smith had a very good answer. He said that all my clients get away with clutches of law, but eventually they are punished by my fees. Which is more rigorous than sentence which the court can possibly impose. So this arbitration proceedings is definitely less time consuming and theoretically supposed to be less expensive as well. The subjects are so designed, and I am really grateful as a member of legal fraternity to Amit Bhai, Ketan Bhai and Tushar Bhai to select subjects which are not selfishly selected, but the subjects which industrial fraternity must know with a view to contribute to the productivity and growth of this country. Gujarat has its history. Gujarat has its history in trade, commerce, industry, not before 200 years or 500 years. Today, in Times of India, I have read, there are memories of Vasco da Gama now published, but a year back I read that Vasco da Gama's memories are preserved somewhere in some museum in East Africa, which mentions that when he started from his country, where his ship was built with contribution of the state, that is the king, and contribution of the citizens, and he considered it to be a big ship, he started his journey to find India. At some point point of time he was confused whether to take A route or B route. And he encountered 3 ships bigger than his ship belonging to a Gujarati trader. And that Gujarati trader told him that you follow my ship if you want to visit India. Best port is in Gujarat. And that is how Vasco da Gama came to India. We have a history of trade and commerce. We are leading in many ways, and while doing so, when we have ample opportunities of foreign investment, which we are more than ready to seize the opportunity, because we are a business community necessarily, we must know how to protect our rights from being invaded by unscrupulous competitors or unscrupulous people in the business. Incidentally, when I say that not only the selection of subject is extraordinary, the selection of persons who would share their views with us is also extraordinary. For example, we are starting this function which is presided over by none other than my Lord Justice M.S. Shah, one of the finest judges who has not only developed the careers of many lawyers by encouraging them. My Lord is one of the few judges who have contributed to the development of law. But my Lord is not great because he has contributed in the development of law, not merely because of that. Very few would know that my lords have done pioneering work in the alternative dispute resolution in the state of Gujarat. He is one of the pioneers, one of the founding fathers in Gujarat. Therefore, I congratulate from the bottom of my heart Amit Bhai, Ketan Bhai and Tushar Bhai for inviting my Lord Justice Shah, whose presence otherwise we can claim as of right. He is one of us, especially in Baroda. But to think of it is really a fact which needs vision amongst the management of FG. Now, after you go through the entire process of today and tomorrow, which consists of several legal issues, the last part I found to be very interesting, and I discussed that with Tushar Bhai. That last part is googling of Mr. Ishan Bhatt, and I asked him what is the googling. Our profession is notorious of being called, and at times rightly so, a very boring profession. The subject is dry, the process of litigation is dry, and there is nothing which a non-lawyer would find interesting. After the entire process of discussion on this dry subject, which would of course be an interesting discussion, there would be a discussion on non-dry part of law. Friends, I am also eagerly awaiting to hear my Lord Justice Shah and the dignitaries who are to address all of us on different subjects. I will not take much time, I will not stand in between. But when we are ending today's session with few googlies, I would wish to, with permission of the chair, end my discourse with few of interesting parts of law which I feel I should share with you. Our subject is considered to be, and our profession is also considered to be, a boring subject where nothing interesting happens. As a matter of fact, there are several interesting facts in law which I would request Amit Bhai and Ketan Bhai that one day I expect a similar seminar where we would not discuss anything serious, but we would discuss something more interesting on the field of law. I'll just share two incidents which I came across recently, which has nothing to do with the subject matter of this summit, but to end on a non-dry, non-boring note, I'm just sharing these two incidents. 10 years back, High Court of Kenya encountered a petition filed by a lawyer, and can you imagine what was the subject matter of challenge? The prayer was, declare crucifixion of Jesus Christ to be unconstitutional. And the lawyer who was the petitioner had given several reasons as to how crucifixion, maybe post-crucifixion challenge, but how the crucifixion requires to be declared null and void. It's a very interesting petition to read. Of course, needless to say that High Court of Kenya did not entertain the petition, but you will find it very interesting to know who were the respondents joined, because you need to have respondents who will oppose your prayer. He has joined the authorities of Israel, that they were the people responsible for crucifixion. And if you read the petition and the judgment of High Court of Kenya, it makes a very interesting reading, removing all doubts that law is not only a boring subject. A second incident which I recently came across, there was a circuit judge in America, which we can equate with a High Court judge with original jurisdiction to try an offense. He convicted and accused of ABCD offenses with which we are not concerned. Conviction was challenged before the Supreme Court, the federal court in America, upheld by the federal court. At that stage, there was an allegation against the circuit judge that he used to consume narcotic drugs, especially marijuana. A departmental inquiry was undertaken by the inbuilt mechanism, the internal judiciary, and the judge confessed that yes, he was habituated, he was addict, and even while sitting on the dais, when we say sitting on the dais, means the judge discharging his judicial functions from the chair, he used to consume marijuana. Based on these findings, the accused filed a review petition before the Supreme Court saying that this is the judge who convicted me. The drug which he was addicted to is necessarily bound to give him hallucinations, etc. Because that's the effect of the drug which nobody can deny, that's scientifically proved. So only on this ground my conviction requires to be set aside. He had plethora of evidence to show that. And the Supreme Court of United States set aside the sentence on the ground that the judge who convicted him was not in a mental condition to record a valid conviction. Then the question arose that having given this decision, this judge, while he discharged his duties before he was dismissed, might have delivered several judgments and sentenced several accused. What to do, whether to give this judgment mere prospective effect? If it is prospective effect, then the person who was before the court cannot be held, because his conviction was a previous conviction. If it is given retrospective effect, then hundreds of people might get benefit. The matter was referred to a larger bench of 3 judges. And the majority view of 2 judges say that considering the peculiar circumstances with which we are faced, we hold that this judgment is confined to the facts of this case and would not be available to other accused. But one minority view took the view that if we sincerely believe that the judge could not have recorded conviction in one case, we cannot deprive others of that benefit even at the cost of inconvenience of retrial in all cases. But eventually the majority view prevailed. Now these are all few incidents, real incidents, which may lighten with otherwise serious atmosphere when we discuss arbitration and cyber laws, etc., etc. Lastly, I have a request to make to Amit Bhai and the entire team of FGA that let this summit not be a standalone, isolated incident, but be the first of its kind, and let's this type of summits be held every year. let this not be treated to be the beginning and end together. Let this be treated as